No, I hated law school. I hated law students. I didn't like most of my law professors. They were arrogant, they were disrespectful, and they were insensitive. I thought it was just a law being played out the way they do the law. But I was a young, impressionable guy, and I wanted somebody to, put their arms around me, right? But I didn't get none of that. Oh, it was hard. And I had an afro that big. Now, I stood out at one time I was the only black student there. And the other times, I don't think there's ever any more. When I was there, over 2 or 3. So you can understand that if not for the dean of that school, quite frankly, I got to tell a little story. I got involved with the Legal Aid Society. The gentleman there, this was like safe ground during the time. And I ran into a lady named, you might know her name, Susie Post. And Susie Post had a husband named Ed Post. Ed Post was a lawyer. I had no money. I didn't know how I was going to go to law school the next year. So I'm walking down the street one day, and I know where Ed Post's office is. So I walk on up into the Marinette Taylor building, and I knock on the door, and I walk up to the secretary, and I say, I'd like to see Mr. Ed Post, afro this big. And she said, well, sir, you don't have an appointment. And she called back to him, and he said, let him in. So I didn't hear him say that, but I got past her, right? So I go back in his office, and this is a time when I was demanding things, I said, Mr. Post, I'd like for you to raise me some money, because I don't have money to go to law school this next semester. And I'd like for you to do that. Will you do that? And he said, I'll think about it. That's how it left, okay? So I went out. I didn't know where I was going to get some money. I was working. I didn't have enough. I was working and making saw blades at some place half the time, and I had to go to law school. That last semester, I said, I can't do it again. It almost killed me. I lost 20 pounds, So I get a call. It's from that same dean I was telling you about, Dean Merritt. So I go over and I visit Dean Merritt. And Dean Merritt sets me down. He starts talking about New Mexico. When he was a kid, how they take a string and the cowboys would come down the road, and when they got down there, they knocked the caps off their hats. And I said, what's wrong with this man? Something wrong with him, And then at the end, he said, go enroll. You have a scholarship, and blah, 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 blah. Now, where the heck did I get a scholarship, right? So I went and enrolled, did my stuff, hear no more about it. Years pass. I get a call. It's from Ed Post's office. Ed Post had died, and they were resolving his accounts. And they said, we got a file over here with your name on it. And they said, we thought you might want to have it because we don't know what to do with it. I said, okay. So I ran over there. At that time, I was a big-time lawyer, organized the largest black law firm in the state of Kentucky then and since. And I was, Ed Post, because I had a soft spot for my heart, but I don't know why he didn't step up to the plate. So I look in this file, and guess what's in this file? There's these letters from Ed Post to some selected lawyers saying, hey, I have a worthy young man here, worthy young Negro, I don't know if he said man or boy, I keep forgetting what he said, here that's having trouble with finances for law school. Would you be willing to contribute to this? You know what this guy did in retrospect? Do I have to tell you the rest of the story? Life. See, to become ideologically trapped, when I think about the I'm going off a little bit. When I think about the Tea Party and these other folks, they get in these rigid formations. Life is much more complex than that. That's what I found out.